You want to see a cool trick involving this? It's starting to look like a synthesizer. Okay, I got a little loop in here with some new functions I created. It's going to read some analog inputs, and every 100th of a second, update the frequency. Okay, here we go. That's awesome. Look at that. And just because it's convenient, I hooked that to the frequency. I haven't done any work with actually tuning this thing's FM synthesis. There's, I think, 15 different instruments that are available on this, and a lot of them are just presets, like they're patches that are burned into the chip. This happens to be the clarinet one, but, you know, I just want to guarantee that I can make sound while I work on this. Now I'm at the point where I can actually start turning this into a synthesizer. So a little on this. This is an analog input, obviously. It's a 50K linear pot. This guy is going through a little bit of analog magic to make sure that there isn't a huge amount of jitter on the input. And it's going into the first analog input on the Odroid C1. This is an Odroid breakout board. I didn't think that the two analog inputs that's provided on this board would work with the YM2420 library that hard kernel patched and released for this board, but it does. It really does. And the hooks for YM2420 Python actually read it. So what you heard was it actually working off of the analog input on here. This potentiometer is sending voltage directly into that. In addition, this is a MCP 3008 IC by Microchip, and this takes 8 analog inputs and turns it into a digital output that is handled by the SPI controller on the Odroid. It's the same thing for the Raspberry Pi. You can do this sort of thing with a Raspberry Pi also, but there is no built-in analog, so you need to use something like this for a Raspberry Pi. I don't know if the Raspberry Pi 2 is like that. I think it is, though. Anyway, on kind of a side note, I made this beautiful little adapter. Look at this thing. I'm actually, like, really proud of it. I don't think I'm bad at soldering or anything, but this turned out really good. Ooh, it's so consistent. Look at that. I'm going to use this for testing keys. I'll put this in on like one of these bits in the breadboard. And I made a little modification to the keyboard just to be more convenient. I put this guy on there. It's a little sloppy, but this is the keyboard that came with the original PSS 140 that I took this chip out of. And it's actually a pretty nice keyboard. I don't think I want the synth to be any bigger than this. Think of kind of like an MS-20 or something like that. But anyway, enough talk. Pretty cool, making a lot of progress. I guess from here on I'm just going to have to get a whole bunch of potentiometers and pretend it's built into a case and see what the hell I can do. Yeah, awesome.